Of April 1975, after Suanloc fell, the Saigon Army had only one remaining escape route, retreating by sea through Vũng Tàu. However, to achieve this, they had to hold on to the Ba Ria Vũng Tàu area, especially the Caw May Bridge, a critical point determining their survival. The liberating forces, recognizing the importance of the Caw May Bridge as a key checkpoint, decided to attack to break this defensive line and open the way into Vũng Tàu. On April 27, 1975, after Ba Ria was liberated, the Saigon forces blew up the Caw May Bridge to impede the advancing liberating forces. The liberating forces, with the main force being the 3rd Division of the Golden Star, quickly received orders and prepared for the decisive attack. The division was reinforced with artillery and other support units to overcome obstacles and advance directly into Vũng Tàu. Although the liberating forces were well prepared, the Saigon Army firmly held the Caw May Bridge with elite forces, including Marine battalions, tanks, and armored vehicles. The Saigon forces also destroyed the bridge, cutting off the route to the sea, while building strong fortifications to block the liberating forces. The battle at Caw May Bridge became a fierce confrontation between the two sides, with the ultimate goal of opening the way into Vũng Tàu. In the battle at Caw May Bridge, both sides were well prepared for the decisive situation. On the side of the liberating forces, with the 3rd Division of the Golden Star being the main force, they had carefully prepared to overcome this obstacle. This division included 3 regiments: Regiment 2, Regiment 12, and Regiment 141, along with additional specialized units, especially artillery. Before starting the attack, the command of the 3rd Division of the Golden Star coordinated closely with the Ba Ria Provincial Armed Forces to conduct reconnaissance and fully understand the situation at Caw May Bridge. The commanders developed a detailed battle plan with the key objective of cutting off the Saigon Army's escape route to the sea. On the Saigon Army's side, after the defeat at Suanloc, they concentrated their last elite forces in Ba Ria Vũng Tàu to hold their ground. Brigade 1 of the Airborne Division, considered an elite unit in the Saigon Army, was the main force defending Caw May Bridge. Immediately after Ba Ria was liberated, the Saigon Army launched a fierce counterattack, but it was unsuccessful. Forced to retreat via Caw May Bridge to Vũng Tàu on April 27th, the Saigon Army implemented a strong defense strategy at the bridge. Marine battalions, reinforced with tanks and M113 armored vehicles, constructed strong fortifications at both ends of the bridge, ready to resist any attack. Simultaneously, Saigon military leaders focused all their forces on holding Vũng Tàu, seeing it as the last defensive line and determined to protect the escape route to the sea. Both sides were fully aware that victory at Caw May Bridge would decide the opening to Vũng Tàu, making this battle crucial for the Saigon Army's survival and a key opportunity for the liberating forces. The battle at Caw May Bridge was one of the fiercest in the campaign to liberate Vũng Tàu, as both sides understood the strategic importance of the bridge. The Caw May Bridge, a nearly 100-meter-long concrete bridge over the Caw May River, was the only route for the Saigon Army to retreat to the sea. The river's fast current created a treacherous terrain, complicating the liberating forces' efforts to cross. On the north side of the bridge, coming from Ba Ria, there was a low plain area with many swamps and soft ground, lacking elevated spots to set up fire support or concentrate large forces. On the south side, towards Vũng Tàu, the terrain was higher, more favorable for defense. The liberating forces had to approach the bridge in conditions that made them vulnerable to enemy fire. Meanwhile, the Saigon forces had prepared thoroughly, constructing strong fortifications at both ends of the bridge and positioning powerful fire support, including machine guns, mortars, and tanks. The Saigon forces also blew up the bridge to prevent the liberating forces from advancing. However, the liberating forces remained determined to overcome this obstacle. On the night of April 27th, Battalion 3 of Regiment 2, 3rd Division of the Golden Star, secretly moved to the north bank of the Caw May River, preparing to cross the river in the dark. On the morning of April 28th, the liberating forces began their river crossing assaults, hoping to catch the Saigon forces off guard by attacking the breached positions of the bridge. However, each time the liberating forces left the north bank, Fire from the south bank immediately unleashed, sinking several boats in the river. The Saigon forces' mortar and machine gun fire was very strong, inflicting heavy losses on the liberating forces, especially in the first suicidal attacks. Faced with the difficult situation and heavy losses, the command of the 3rd Division of the Golden Star decided to change tactics. Instead of continuing direct assaults across the bridge, the liberating forces shifted to a flanking attack from behind the Saigon positions. Regiment 12, which had just completed the task of liberating Bahria, was ordered to secretly move towards Long Hai, an area with a less monitored coastline. There, the liberating forces mobilized more than 50 fishing boats to cross the sea and land on the southeast shore of Vũng Tàu. This surprise attack caught the Saigon forces off guard. By the morning of April 29th, Regiment 12 quickly spread out in all directions, attacking the flank and rear of the Saigon forces, causing great surprise. The Saigon forces were caught off guard, and 2 M113 armored vehicles were destroyed. The Saigon defense line broke, and immediately Battalion 3 of Regiment 2, 3rd Division of the Golden Star, charged across the Caw May River despite the deep water and strong current. By about 10 a.m. on April 29th, the liberating forces had fully taken control of Caw May Bridge, breaking the last defensive line of the Saigon army and opening the path into Vũng Tàu. The battle at Caw May Bridge ended with a complete victory for the liberating forces, opening the way into the heart of Vũng Tàu and ending the war. After taking control of Caw May Bridge, the liberating forces quickly implemented a decisive strategy to break into the center of Vũng Tàu. This change in tactics was a crucial turning point, as the Saigon army had resisted strongly at the bridge, preventing the liberating forces from crossing directly. Realizing the unfavorable situation, the command of the 3rd Division of the Golden Star decided to shift the attack direction, moving from direct assaults to flanking behind the Saigon forces, attacking their flanks and rear. To execute this strategy, Regiment 12, after completing the task of liberating Bahria, was ordered to move secretly towards Long Hai, located more than 10 kilometers east of Caw May Bridge. There, the liberating forces prepared a sea-crossing strategy, mobilizing more than 50 fishing boats from Phuoc Tin to transport troops out to sea. These boats moved in the dark to avoid detection by the Saigon forces. By dawn on April 29th, the liberating forces had safely crossed the sea entrance and landed on the southeast beach of Vũng Tàu without being detected. As daylight arrived, the forces of Regiment 12 quickly spread out in all directions, attacking the Saigon forces' flanks and rear. This surprise attack caused panic among the Saigon forces, who were unprepared. The defense positions south of Caw May Bridge were heavily attacked, and 2 M113 armored vehicles were destroyed. The Saigon forces could no longer resist, and the defense line at the southern end of the bridge began to collapse. Once the liberating forces saw that the Saigon defense line had been broken, Battalion 3 of Regiment 2 immediately charged across the Caw May River, regardless of the danger. Thanks to the surprise sea-crossing strategy and flanking attack, the liberating forces not only defeated the Saigon defensive forces, but also gained the initiative in the campaign to enter Vũng Tàu. The liberating soldiers, despite facing many difficulties and dangers, persevered, continuing their advance into the city's center. This was a smart and bold strategy that led the liberating forces to victory in this decisive battle, paving the way for the complete liberation of Vũng Tàu. After taking control of Caw May Bridge, the liberating forces continued to advance forcefully into the center of Vũng Tàu, with the goal of capturing the city before the Saigon army could organize a defense or attempt to retreat. Exploiting the confusion and weakening of the Saigon defense, the liberating forces quickly occupied areas around the city. The armed forces of the 3rd Division of the Golden Star, particularly Regiment 2 and Regiment 12, quickly coordinated to advance towards Vũng Tàu while securing control over key roads leading into the city. By noon on April 29th, Regiment 2 crossed the Rech Ba Bridge, an important gateway into the center of Vũng Tàu. Earlier, the A-32 commando units had seized the bridge the night before, allowing the liberating forces to pass through without significant obstacles. This was an important step, as capturing the Rech Ba Bridge opened the path into Vũng Tàu without encountering strong resistance from the Saigon Army. As the liberating forces entered the city center, the Saigon Army had only a few scattered marine and airborne forces holding out in some fortified positions. However, their defense quickly crumbled as the liberating forces approached. By the night of April 29th, the liberating forces had controlled almost all of Vũng Tau's main roads, surrounding the last remaining pockets of resistance in the city. On the morning of April 30th, about 900 liberating forces simultaneously attacked and seized the headquarters of the Saigon government in Vũng Tau. Just over an hour later, President Deng Văn Minh declared unconditional surrender. However, there remained one last stronghold at the Palette Hotel, where nearly 200 Marines and young soldiers held out. Despite the surrender order from the Saigon government, this group continued to resist. The liberating forces had to launch one final battle. The battle at the Palette Hotel lasted until the afternoon of the same day, and by 1330, all enemy forces there had raised the white flag in surrender. With this victory, Vũng Tau was fully liberated, marking the end of the campaign to liberate Phuoc Tuy province and contributing to the complete success of the spring of 1975. The battle at the Palette Hotel became the final battle in the Vũng Tau liberation campaign, playing a crucial role in completing the final victory of the liberating forces. After the liberating forces had occupied most of the city, only one last resistance point remained at the Palette Hotel, where nearly 200 Marines and young soldiers of the Republic of Vietnam held out. This was seen as the last Saigon stronghold in the city, and despite the surrender order from President Deng Văn Minh, this group stubbornly resisted. The battle at the Palette Hotel took place on the morning of April 30th, after the liberating forces had completely occupied the surrounding areas. The liberating forces, determined to liberate Vũng Tau fully, quickly launched strong attacks on the Saigon positions in the hotel. However, the enemy forces there did not surrender easily, and they held out in fortified structures for many hours. Although the Saigon forces continued to resist, the liberating forces gradually gained the upper hand thanks to their determination and firepower. After a fierce battle that lasted until the afternoon of the same day, by about 1330, the Saigon forces at the Palette Hotel were forced to raise the white flag and accept complete. With the victory at the Palette Hotel, the liberating forces completely controlled Vũng Tau. This was the final battle in the campaign to liberate Phuoc Tuy province, marking a complete strategic victory and paving the way for the full liberation of southern Vietnam and the end of the Vietnam War. The victory at Vũng Tau, especially after the battle at the Palette Hotel, marked an important turning point in the Southern Liberation Campaign and a decisive milestone in the resistance against America. After the liberating forces fully took control of Vũng Tau, the entire Phuoc Tuy province was liberated. This was a strategic victory, not only completely cutting off the Saigon Army's retreat route, but also creating a powerful rupture in their defensive line, severely weakening the Saigon Army's ability to resist in southern Vietnam. This victory also demonstrated the effort, resilience, and tactical intelligence of the liberating forces in the face of fierce war conditions. By liberating Vũng Tau and ending the resistance of the last Saigon Army units, the gateway to Saigon had been opened, setting the stage for the final days of the war. At 1330 on April 30th, 1975, President Deng Văn Minh declared unconditional surrender, officially ending the Vietnam War. All of southern Vietnam was liberated, marking the reunification of the country.